right. So, folks, welcome to another episode of Grievances, the Star Citizen Report. I'm your host, Thamin.
This is Memo.
Right.
Although I don't think we're broadcasting.
Yeah, I'm kind of waiting for assignment here. Having some technical issues tonight here, so the live broadcast, so just trying to make sure things are going okay.
There we are.
Go with your commercial.
Yeah, I'm still not seeing us.
I'm seeing us. Do a refresh.
Alrighty. So I run into the occasional bugs here with running this. We got a commercial this time, so I'm going to assume we're live here. I'm just going to start talking.
Yeah, we're live.
Yeah, we are live. Yeah.
Alrighty. Sorry, folks, for the problems there. And we do have a lot of big news today. At PAX Australia happened this weekend, so a lot of news with ships coming out. The first-person shooter is definitely a big one that we're going to be covering tonight. A few sales going on, and as well as some other news from around the verse that we'll be covering. So, let's see. I think first thing that I get to is just a recap of last week. Last week was a big week for gaming in general and gaming charities. Grievance was broadcasting 24 hours for Extra Life, and had a great time. Had a great cast with it. We more than doubled our goal. Ended up earning over $4,500 for Children's Miracle Network hospitals. And Spin did something special his second year doing this. So Spin, I'll let you chat about it here.
Thanks, mate. What I did was I emptied my hangar, so all the ships that I had purchased. In this case, it was a 350R, an M50, a Freelancer Miss, a Gladiator, and a Car-2, the Xi'an Scout. And what we did was, for every $5 donated to Extra Life, a person got one entry in the raffle for those ships, and we ended up raising over $3,200 just on those ships alone. And then the Car-2 Al we actually gave away to people who had donated and were also on watching the live stream. And we actually made an extra few $100, an extra $200 just during the live stream while we were giving away those ships, with people getting into donations and adding additional donations in. It was a fantastic experience, and what a great Star Citizen community we have. Not only do they get so involved, but incredibly supportive of the Extra Life charity, and people throwing in additional money all the time just to get me to the next goal. It was really a great experience.
That's awesome, Spin. But what I want to know is, it's over. Your ships are gone. It's the second year in a row you've done this. Great thing you're doing. Where are you at with your hangar now? How have you bounced back this year?
Well, the Saturday that we're doing the live stream was my birthday. My son and I have the same birthday, and
awesome.
My wife's standard statement is, 5 years ago, I gave you the best birthday present you'll ever have, so you're not getting another one. But she relented and let me buy a cutlass. So I had a cutlass in my hangar. After it was empty, I had a cutlass. No more children. If there's any more children, we're having a serious talk.
Yeah, I've hit my limit too. I remember broadcasting that night too, and you were having a scotch, and I was thinking, I don't have that many ships in my hangar, but I thought, if I was raffling them all off, I could probably use a scotch too.
It did make it go down a little bit easier. But that said, the bug bit me right again this week when the Herald came out. I grabbed it on Friday and the Redeemer on Saturday. So I'm feeling pretty flush now. And there was some generous people, including Thamin, and a guy named FO, who donated a couple of ships for next year already. Mm-hmm. So that's fantastic. I've already got my start in.
Yeah, FO, he was one of the winners of your ships, wasn't he?
Yeah, he won the 350R. And what he did was he contacted me and said, I don't really want to take that 350R. I'd rather let you have it again for next year. So he said, I know someone who wants to get into the game. If you get them a starter package, you keep your 350R.
Oh,
That's awesome.
So not only to bring a new Star Citizen in, but the 350R is going to be around for next year's event.
nice. Sounds good too. And yeah, folks, you want to get interested in it. We'll show you the eye candy on Star Citizen, and hopefully a show that you can share your friends with this, because Star Citizen is quite the complete package of a lot of different things you can do in this game. Alright. So, we'll move off Extra Life. And again, looking forward to next year. Yeah, like when I sent you the ship, I was thinking, yes, it might be raffled off next year, but either way, I'm happy with that. Alright.
Yeah, it's for the kids.
Alright,
Still a
folks.
kid.
So let's
Does
talk
that count?
about. I was gonna say let's talk about one of those ships. Oh, I should. I kind of answered a question early on. Empty Mind in our live chat. You should join us live on Twitch if you're watching this on YouTube. Asked about LTI, if it's worth it going off the gray market. Again, we'll just repeat. Chris Roberts is saying LTI is supposed to be a minor game mechanic, a few jobs and you're covered. So I guess if it was me, I wouldn't waste it on a gray market. If you're not, there are going to be more LTI ships coming out and concept sales, so get a chance to grab something with it.
And the other thing I'll add to that is if you buy straight away off the Roberts Space Industries website, you're supporting the game more. Those gray market ships have already been purchased. The money's already in the system. We're here. The reason we're pledging is to support the game that has, inflamed our imaginations about life in the black.
Yeah, every time something new drops or something new comes out, or there's a PAX where there's new video, it pulls me right back into the Star Citizen universe from whatever I happen to be playing at the moment. So for me, the backing of the game, and I will continue to back over time until it's not an option anymore, is that's a lot of the enjoyment for me, is seeing the development and being a part of it and being involved with the guild and the game.
All right. So let's go to the first ship. So news on a few ships this weekend. This one, though, the first time we're actually seeing it, the Drake Herald, which even Ben Lesnick said was so ugly it's beautiful. And we're going to get some pictures of that up here.
Any of you guys get that? Drake, you said you got one, right, Spin?
I did. And I will, what did Ben Lesnick say? So ugly it's beautiful.
Oh, yeah.
But for me, it's the theory behind it. Like, I like the fact you've got this hidden transmitter for your data transmissions that you pop open when you need it. I don't mind the asymmetrical shape. I think it's going to be a fast, well-armored ship, and it may even have applications beyond data running. It may be one of those ships that you can use to get someone else into combat and survive long enough, because they've said it's fast, it's heavily armored. They've also talked in the past about the cyber mechanic, where you might be able to do intrusion to someone else's systems, and an heavy electronic ship like this might be the ideal candidate.
They also said you could fit it out to be a racer as well, because of the speed that it has, that it could be fitted to be a racer, which is another interesting spin on it.
Yeah, designed to travel very fast. We've got the two racers. We've got the two main racers that have been around a while, and they've both been Origin, although we know the Mustang racer will be out. But yeah, the ship's made to go very fast. And new things like EMP shielding, which we'll even see a little bit in the first-person shooter reveal later. So, kind of another thing that is kind of first time we've seen some of this stuff.
And people will look at the ship stats, and they're going to go, well, I compare that to the M50 and the 350R, and I go, well, the 350R is going to go faster. It's a little bit heavier, but it's got the next tier of engines. But everyone's got to remember the stats are going to change. Pick ships that you're interested in flying. Don't worry about the stats.
Yeah. And pick this because of its beauty, that it's ugly. It is, and some people are like that. Some people like some of those other ships because the Reclaimer you said was a little Firefly looking. It's a little similar to it. So yeah. So if you're interested in the Drake Herald, the concept sale runs until November 10th. Includes LTI on this ship. All concept sales are now going to include LTI. $85 for the standalone ship. And from what we know, if you're new to Star Citizen, even if you buy the base ship later on when the variants come out, a lot of times you can buy an update package, so you can get the LTI now and put a package on later when the variants come out. All right. Anyone else on that before we into the real meaty thing coming out of Australia?
I was excited when I heard it was coming out because it was Info Runner and it has the chance of like what we were talking about before, the electronic warfare. But I'm actually a little disappointed because I don't really feel like zipping around space delivering packages. That didn't sound like fun.
You can get your little brown shirt and you can wear your little brown shorts with your little, your little.
It's not 2005,
Tennis
dude. No.
Yeah, it probably is worth saying. This is one of those ships where they put it out for the fans to vote. Both the Redeemer, which we're going to see later, well, people wanted a gunship, and that's what that one came out as, and people wanted this little data runner, maybe data pirate, and that's what we got now.
Yeah, I mean, it does appeal to some people. Not really doing it. Doesn't really do it for me, but I'm more into the bigger multi-cruise ships, or what I'm pretty much interested in. It's one of the reasons why I went with the Reclaimer, because there's so much you can do with that. And I got all these people out here in chat who have the Connies, and apparently when they smash those things up, I can fit a whole one in the cargo hole. So keep that in mind, folks.
So, and now the big news this morning, if you were up at 5 a.m. my time, they did the broadcast from PAX Australia on the first-person shooter element of the game. And we finally found out who Redacted is. It's Ilphonics. And
Well, that wasn't really hidden well, but yeah.
Yeah, I saw somebody kind of guessed it beforehand.
Chris Roberts said it in an interview earlier, and they had it in another, yeah.
For anybody who has not watched the FPS video that they've got out there on their website, if you're at all interested in that type of gaming, you must go see this. It was exactly what I was hoping it would be.
Actually, I got that video here. I'm going to start playing it while we talk about things here. All right.
Light the fires and kick the tires, man.
Yeah.
Nice reference.
And we can go ahead and chat. I've turned the volume down a little bit because, at least maybe until we get into the combat. There was the opener right away. You see the Redeemer flying in at the start of this thing, and that got cheers out of the crowd watching it.
Yeah, that's just awesome. Makes me want one. Price point on that is a little high, which I know sounds crazy because the other ships I have are all more expensive.
You've already paid that much.
I know. I'm trying to stop. I had been saying the whole time I was going to get the Reclaimer whenever it came out, or even before I got the Connie.
Who knows? We have another year coming out before we even see much of Squadron 42, and that's a lot of temptation of ships down the line still. And here the ship goes through like kind of a little barrier into the hangar where the hangar's secure. They mentioned a number of things. We're going to see some zero-G combat in the later half of this film. And Chris Roberts talked about where you're going to have push-pull mechanics to move yourself along. And these guys, I thought it was funny. Some of them were moving so fast and they were fairly ricocheting off the walls and other objects as they were firing at each other.
Yeah, this is exactly what I was, when I'm picturing it in my mind of what I want it to be, this is it. And I like how they're kind of staying in character as, almost RP in it a little bit, which made it even neater to watch.
Yeah. Coordinating, moving as a formation. Now, right now it looks like in this example it's 4 versus 4, which is the case of a lot of Arena Commander matches at this point.
That's a good number.
You could kind of see these guys had some jetpack assistance during part of the zero-G part later on, so a lot of backers actually have a jetpack already as part of the backing.
I do.
How many million did you have to do before you got that? Was that 37?
I came in when it was around 12 or 14, so.
Okay. I think I got it, I just can't remember. Been forever.
Yeah. And this is nice here. They're going to show it in a moment. It's right around 3 minutes, so about 30 seconds from now in. One of the guys also drops down a portable shield. So they've said you're going to have all sorts of tools you can use. I'm jumping around the notes here a bit. You'll have tons of helpful gadgets such as claymores, holograms, personal healing kits, portable shields, drills for entry, tripwires, etc.
I really like how they've integrated the heads-up display, but you still have your trusty old iron sight and reticle in there, and I like that.
This is
Yeah.
Battlefield 2142.
Yeah,
Got a lot of our notes.
Does kind of.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of our notes, not only from this footage from PAX, but some snippets from a Reddit interview they had beforehand too. They have said Oh, here we go. So this shooting starts.
I like how the stuff just starts drifting. The debris just starts drifting up off the floor when they lose gravity.
Yeah, everything's not nailed.
Then it starts floating.
Alright, I'm going to turn up the video sound here a bit since they got the gunfire going.
It's really dark. It's gonna be hard to see.
When you're watching it on your screen, and it's not like this whoop, I don't remember it being at all dark to where I couldn't see everything. So I think it's just the video quality there. I'd take a direct link to the video. It's on the site.
That is nice too, because they sounded like, well, I'll go. Any playing field has the ability for someone to drastically change it. So that could include the lights. They just said the person could cut the power, turn off the oxygen, open the hangar doors to try to vent somebody out, turn off gravity, which we'll see, even set the self-destruct.
It was not that dark, though, the one I watched. So, but yeah, I don't like games that are super dark. I like to be able to see what I'm shooting at or missing.
Are you afraid of the dark?
Okay, I'm going to move forward here. Now this one gets into the zero-G aspect of it. It starts off normal. You see the team going down the hall again, but then it switches to one of the bad guys messing with the gravity, and you can hear the team in the background all of a sudden, worrying. It's like, are we losing the gravity? Oh, and here the guy's shooting at a hologram, so totally wasting
nice
shots
touch.
there. But there's an EMP charge going off. Yeah, so they even quoted one of them. It's like, you can really screw with people, and that's awesome.
Yeah, see on the pistol here, that's a good example of how when you go in for your close shot, your the HUD drops back and you're down to just iron sight, which I thought was a neat effect.
And now you're going to see on here, this is one of the bad guys' view. I noticed the color is a little different from one HUD to the next. Ways to try to differentiate people. And now he's down in the engine and starting to mess with the gravity. They have said other things according to other first-person shooters. If you try just shooting from the hip, bullets gonna go off wildly. But I go into it more detail here. You can get a limb really injured or out of commission during the match, and they try to react that realistically as far as what you can do afterward.
That sounds like fun.
Here you got everyone, now the gravity's off and everyone's kind of floating.
So are you going to be able to apply a tourniquet and cauterize the wound or something, or?
It did say, let's see.
So it's not going to be like Battlefield where you run up with shock paddles or a big syringe full of stuff. But
yeah, they made it sound like, as far as, okay, so med kits may be temporary or even not bring you back to full health. This Death of a Spaceman mechanic is, of course, designed to inspire caution. And limb damage to a player can affect the mechanics of gameplay, like even your aiming, your moving. Players select their dominant hand, not during the match, of course, or at least for their characters of the persistent universe. They've even said, over time, a cybernetic limb, if you got one of those, it can give you an advantage, but might be more susceptible to EMPs and lasers. So that's kind of a balancing thing too. It's like, hey, I got a robotic arm, and then one different thing to worry about.
It overheated. I need a battery.
Of course, boarding the ship, we know you can't just enter anywhere. There are predetermined weak spots that a boarding team can cut or blow through. And unless you're coupled to the other ship, you and the other crew will also be dealing with the rush of air into space. One of the kids coming after me again. And here's the 0G match kind of coming to a close, but even now, like, it's up piloting up in the rafters and that, looking for folks got bodies floating in the air. There you go. And the cheering of the crowd. Alrighty. Thought that was very good eye candy. I like the whole look of that thing. And like I say, it sounds like a lot of variety stuff. I'm trying to think what I did not cover here.
I got a bunch of notes if you want to cut me loose.
Go ahead.
Okay. I'm not saying I was excited, but I did take 2 pages of notes. So during the discussions, they talked about, first person, not third person. There's going to be no third person view like a traditional shooter. And they were actually in the FPS branch of the Arena Commander build. So they're already integrating them, which was a bonus for me just to hear the fact that they were doing that integration. And the guys in the demo that we were watching were wearing what he called light marine armor. And it was amazing when they focused in. Not only could you hear the breathing, but you could see the breath on your visor, which the level of detail was amazing. And, it would expand every single breath you took. And I bet that when you're running, you're going to see more of that.
So who else's first thought on seeing that was, I'm going to need to get a new computer?
I already knew I was going to have to get a new computer.
My first thought was how to turn it off, but it is good that it's there.
Yeah.
Right there, new computer. I just haven't got it just out of the box.
Oh.
I know I need a new computer. My wife doesn't know I need a new computer.
Yeah, right.
That's the
Right.
next
Just wait
tricky
till your
part.
birthday.
That's too long. Christmas.
Let me answer Smarticus quick. He also brought up if your ship is in there and there's enemy infantry in the hangar, yes, you can fire the ship's weapons at them. They've even said if you might be on board some ship that you've got a vehicle, you can fire weapons. Only drawback, of course, you're also maybe hitting the inside of that ship with those same guns and that. So try not to blow your way out from the inside.
That
All right,
sounds
Spin.
like a good last-ditch effort there. Hey, well, if I'm going to go, I'm going to take them all with me kind of thing.
So I did have a little laugh when they were going through, and one guy said, "Tango down." It was a little bit of a throwback to some other game, perhaps.
Mhm.
Well,
Well,
but you
when
saw
it's
the
4 versus op 4, yeah, you need a way to tell your team that the enemy is down. Yeah.
well, if we're fighting pirates, maybe it's Pete. I noticed in the HUD, you had your radar, which was up there, but it didn't show anyone unless someone on your team had spotted them. And if
It's
they were
like
spotted, then
spotter
they
scope.
popped up as a red dot.
Mhm.
So it's like spotter scope from other games, FPS games we're familiar with.
And when they ducked behind cover, or when you lost, or when the line of sight was lost, their dot disappeared, which I thought was excellent. They also gave you your weapon status in the top right-hand screen, and you had in the lower right hand, you had a readout of your own support capabilities. Basically, you had fuel, oxygen, and there was something called THR that I didn't quite figure out. And I think this sort of, they also show your the hologram they mentioned was cool. And if you saw in the video, they actually started shooting at a hologram, then realized it wasn't a real person. It was a
Yeah, that
distraction.
was awesome.
And they dropped shields, like drop shields that you could crouch down behind. We couldn't see a personal shield. At least I didn't see one. But it looked like just the kind you could drop on the floor and then hide behind.
I had a hard time noticing when you were taking damage. Like I saw like blood on the visor, so of course, if you just wait a couple of seconds, it like goes away, or you use a healing pack. But it's very difficult to tell when you're getting hit from a certain area. It's usually some kind of indicator.
Yeah, I think that might be the life signs down in the lower right-hand corner, but they did say there's not going to be a lot of visual indication because they want you focused on the fight, and you'll feel it like you're going to get slower to aim, like Thamin was mentioning earlier. I did a little bit of digging, though, and I found we saw 4 weapons in the demo so far. The P4SC assault rifle, the ATT4, I think it was another assault rifle, the Devastator, which I'm thinking it was a shotgun, but I can't swear to it, and then there was an LM86 pistol. And when I did some digging,
light machine gun. Gotta have a light
yeah.
machine gun. You gotta spray and pray. Is that or shotgun is my preferred mode of play.
Oh, God.
Although a shotgun would work really good in confined quarters like that. So
Absolutely. I found out the kinds of grenades they have. We only saw EMP grenade in there. They did mention a propulsion grenade. So I thought, what are the kinds of grenades they have? And I found a video by Anything FPS that showed Ilphonic's grenades for Star Citizen. They've got frag, concussion, EMP, LIDAR, which is light distance and ranging, force propulsion, which would be awesome in 0G, like you'd knock everyone silly, and then a radar scanner grenade.
I'm kind of showing folks, too, is on my list, that little art sneak peek of the gun store that was in Around the Verse recently. I mean, right there you can pretty much see like a variety of weapons on the wall. And it sounds like we'll have a nice variety in the game, too.
That's like Toys R Us. Sorry.
I did notice when the team was talking, the Ilphonics team, I mean, they talked a lot about sneaking around, tricking people, hijacking ships, getting on board a ship and killing the crew, and it really goes a long way to the fact there's no real targeting assist. When you get someone in your sight, their name appears in red over their head, but it's very small. It's not a bracket or anything. It's not going to help you aim a lot. And then we talked about the radar. You know, you just get that dot while he's in sight, and when he's out of sight, then it disappears again. So there is going to be a lot of tactics available.
hence shotgun and light machine gun. You get near them, and that'll work.
Let's go with grenade launcher.
There you go. I like that too. But there's you have to reload them so often. I mean, with a shotgun, you're going to get 5 or 6 tries, hopefully, and with a light machine gun, you got 100 or 200 tries to hit them.
So Memo's after a shotgun over-under grenade launcher setup?
That sounds good.
He's looking for a full automatic shotgun with a 300-round clip.
Belt fit.
Yeah.
A few other notes, and I bet Spin has some more here. I was going to cover one because when they said that no third-person view, they're also adding there will not be bunny hopping to avoid shots. It's just not going to work.
One of the things I've always hated about, some of the versions of Battlefield, you could just sit there and you had a sniper that could bounce around in a circle and you couldn't hit him.
Yeah.
Really?
That being said, it did say players can do a lot of things here. They can crouch, prone, slide on knees, lean, run and climb, but it's just not at super fast speeds. The system just kind of discourages players from just trying to go ballistic.
Oh no, dolphin diving? Oh no.
And I think you're saying something about like the armor types, because there are a few different types of armor. They go from none, light, medium, heavy, and titan. And we do know from news in the past out of Cloud Imperium that there's some armors like that Titan. You're not going to be flying a ship with that armor on. That's just not going to happen.
No, what they said was the Titan is kind of like the max suits in PlanetSide 2. So it's going to be a very substantial armor. You might not even be able to get into a ship except through one of those ramps. And what else they talked about in the Reddit thread was, a mixture of weapons, ammo types, attachments, and armors. Snipers will certainly have armor-penetrating guns and ammo to use against heavy armored players. With the right rifle and ammo, you can definitely one-shot kill a heavy armored player in the head. However, the balance mechanics there will be intense. It may not be click and fire. There might be a warm-up period. It's going to be tough to make that shot.
Fusion has occurred.
All right. You can go and I was gonna go. Do you want to add anything else? Because otherwise, I was gonna move on to Gladius and Redeemer. But anything else you want to cover there?
Well, if just the zero G combat, and it's been mentioned a little bit, but that was probably my most exciting thing. When I think about the zero G combat combined with when we watched this summer the Constellation fighting the three Hornets, and the opening scene of the battle was the missile coming towards, hitting the Constellation, venting, putting a hole in the armor, venting that compartment out, taking out the gravity, and the guy having to activate his magnetic boots and escape to the next compartment before he can start fighting. And think about that's the opening to zero G combat. That hole in the ship appears. A ship is dropping off Marines to do a boarding in through that hole in the ship. I don't know if we'll get there, but that would be awesome.
Now wait, what I want to see, and they did not show in this video, is these guys are floating around at the top level of a big, large cargo area, open area. What happens when you're doing this and gravity comes back on and they re-engage gravity? I mean, do these guys bounce? Do their jetpacks have any function? Or say they're in the middle of doing a thrust to move from this place to the other. Does that then jet them into the ground? I mean, that's what I think there's going to be into that video.
There's going to be fall damage, and there's going to be damage to your equipment. You're going to end up, like you're saying, having a big fall down that cargo, and then all of a sudden you're like, well, I guess I'm pulling out the knife because I just ruined my rifle.
Let alone your knees and shins and everything else that's attached.
Yeah,
you can have those replaced.
Gravity to re-engage during that sequence, and it didn't. But I was really happy to see the FPS video and see that that's the direction they were going to go with things.
In zero G, what I really noticed was there was they talked a lot about the push and pull movement, which requires your hands, which means you're not shooting while you're actively moving. And then once you stop that, you're still drifting, and then you can shoot. They said earlier there was going to be a small impact on your momentum from the recoil of the weapons you were firing. I didn't see it in this video. It might not be in yet.
They said it would be relatively small.
Yeah, but I watched pretty close, and I didn't see anything from those assault rifles. But you never know.
On the
kind of
gun you're firing, too.
Yeah, that's very true.
That could be fun, fly backward.
But I think we could talk about this for hours, so we should probably move on.
I don't think you're excited about this part at all. No.
All right. Well, that first-person shooter, that's the big one. That was an awesome reveal. Looks like they already have something out there, really nice setup. But now, yes, we've got news from two other ships that we're now seeing in our hangar. And these are ships we've seen before. You got the Gladius and Redeemer, which also means I know somebody was guessing wrong. I think they were thinking that we were going to see the Gladius and the Retaliator because we kind of saw those ships in the hangar at CitizenCon.
Right.
But, so, Gladius and Redeemer. So, I'm going to start talking about the Redeemer here. Of course, that was the winner of the Next Great Starship, the gunship. Since it has never had a concept sale, it is also available with lifetime insurance until November 10th. And there is a brochure available which shows off the inside and the outside of the craft. I did try to grab more pictures. I am not skilled in grabbing pictures off PDF documents. I'll have to study up on that.
Just out of curiosity, Thamin, how many of those did Arlia get?
I haven't seen them.
I haven't seen them either. I'm assuming one for each variant he thinks it might be.
Do you know how many of those that he purchased? Any idea?
Well, what he was talking to me about, because we watched the live stream together and then we talked for a couple hours afterwards, and I think he might have gotten 2.
Okay, only 2, so he scaled back.
Yeah.
For those of you who have never seen Arlia on one of our casts, he's a longtime Grievance member, good friend of mine, and he does cast with us. He has 2 and 3 of almost every ship there is. I think the only one that he does not have is the Scythe, which is one of the ones I want. He
Memo,
even has one of the Idrises.
He doesn't get odd-numbered ships, you know that.
Yeah, I know.
Well, he did tell me he's got 41 ships, so there's one odd one out there. Or maybe he's got 3 of one.
He's got 3
That's
of
dangerous.
one. I think he has 3 constellations.
And
but he does not have a Vandula Scythe, which I've yet to forgive him for that.
I was going to talk a little bit more about the Redeemer. A few basics. Crew capacity is 5. Can carry 6 troops. We kind of saw that. Multiple turrets and twin missile bays to stand its ground against fighters. Quoted as the Empire's most sought-after gunship. And I thought this was a fun quote I saw inside the brochure. The climate-controlled, soundproof berths feature proprietary technology that encourages 20% more delta waves during sleep cycles.
Okay. Well, I got a question here. If it's 4 to a squad combat, what do you have, 2 extra bodies there, or what if you're carrying 6?
Well, that's for the persistent universe. You might need that many.
I'll tell you my guess, and that's so that you have a crew to put on board the ship that you take.
That's a good idea, because,
Yep.
well, in the video, if you watch them coming up, that was like a space station that looked like it was on its last leg, pretty much. It did show one of the guys shoving one of the guys out of a seat to do something.
He opened up the cargo bay so that way the ship could fly in and
Is
land.
that what he was doing?
Yeah, maybe those 2 seats are for space ninjas.
Anakin hacker. I like that idea, Smarticus.
Yeah. You could not just have your shooters, but your different roles for once you get inside that ship and mess with it from the inside.
Absolutely.
For the Redeemer, you can get as a standalone for $250. Again, not something I was going to afford this month. Or the package for $265, both with LTI.
So I bought the Redeemer, and within seconds I was in my hangar and I was exploring the inside, and it does look really good. Now those bunks you mentioned, I'm a Navy guy, and those bunks are not big enough. I know bunks with not a lot of room, and I'll tell you, those are more like toaster ovens than bunks.
Yeah, but they have some kind of delta wave enhancement that makes up for that.
Yeah, I hope it knocks you out.
Well, if you're having trouble sleeping, you can just have the pilot bounce up and down a little bit, and that'll put you out.
But the cockpit looked really good. Good visibility for the size of ship. The bottom turret looked wicked. I think it's going to be really, really good. And the after turret, you couldn't get into the after turret you couldn't get into either turret actually. But just looking at them, they look really well placed. And the ship is a good one.
And right now I'm just throwing up pictures of the Gladius. Woopnyo usually never lets me live down that statement. Of the Gladius, which is also the other hangar-ready ship right now.
What did you call it? What?
No, I was just saying throwing up a picture of, and then Woopnyo usually doesn't let me live that down when I say I'm throwing it up.
Like gang signs? I don't think that's what you... you lost me there. I don't know.
Yeah. So the Gladius, now I looked at the brochure. This is the first ship that I've seen that actually has dumbfire missiles. So just go straight ahead, larger warhead, which it just felt it was interesting. It does have heat-seeking missiles that can equip too, but I thought it was interesting that it's the small fighter, the light fighter, that's got those missiles that you might normally use against. Yeah, something with a little more size to it. The cockpit window, to me, looks like one of the most open field of view I've seen, with the exception of maybe the M50. And the brochure, this is a military ship. It reads like a military manual.
And look at the lines of the ship, though. It is a sleek, butt-kicking ship. I mean, it's going to be light, it's going to be maneuverable, but it looks good.
Yeah, I had one of these when they first released them that I ended up having to melt down when I wanted to get the Reclaimer, and I'm still thinking about picking another one up because I just like them, and the description on them, how they're simple and easy to fly and stuff, sounds like something that would work well for me. Because I'm not having so much fun in the Hornet Trainer, I can tell you that.
When we were first talking about this, like the ship was coming out, at first I was like, whatever, no big deal, it's just a light attack. But the way it's grown and evolved, I really do like it. It looks pretty sweet.
Yeah, I'm in the same boat as Whoop. At first I wasn't that interested, but now that I see it, I'm in Memo's camp and I'll be buying one.
I know Decool34 in our live Twitch cast mentions that now the base civilian Hornet has dumbfire missiles too. So that's something I haven't been keeping track of.
For some reason, those are the kind of missiles I need.
Right? I'm thinking just the name alone means they're, for me, dumbfire.
Yeah, they're not talking about the pilot.
Oh.
I want fire and forget it missiles because I started out playing that in the dogfighting module with the Super Hornet, the military version. It was on special sale, and I've since moved that on to one of my guild mates, and now I'm back to the trainer Hornet, and it is lacking compared to the military version.
I'm gonna play the Gladius video on my phone, or answering machine's about to go off.
Okay. You should call yourself in the middle of the thing, man. Spin, you doing okay? Like in the Swarm co-op?
I've been having I'm struggling with the controller, and I ended up switching from my HOTAS back to mouse and keyboard. But now that the new build is out, I've already been in remapping my HOTAS, and I've got high hopes that I'll get back to it. They certainly covered. Are we going to talk about that later, Thamin? The new build and what they've done to the make the different controllers more equal?
Yeah, that's one of the next major subjects, is those changes.
I will wait then.
Okay.
Alright. Yeah, let me turn the video back down here. Okay. So turn the video back down, and going back to the next one that I was going to talk about was actually right before that, is 49 million. Hit another stretch goal. And we seem to be having problems with our connection, but I've got this recorded, so from here on out, it's going up to YouTube no matter what happens. So YouTube, you're seeing a little glitch on the Twitch side of things.
Yeah, we just went offline on Twitch.
You might be up by 10 million, matey, on the thing. I think we're up to 59.
Oh, yeah, we will be after this. But so at 49 million, we unlocked the Anvil Crucible, which was that flying toolbox repair ship. Even has a workshop that can open up to space for extravehicular activity work. And the voters' choice for a future goal is now down to the Aegis Bulldog twin-engine 2-seat deep space fighter.
Mm-hmm. Can't wait to see what actually happens with that. I'm excited to see that ship.
Yeah, I'm keeping my eye on that one as well. You know, the great thing about Star Citizen is you can get interested in these ships and you can pick them up, and then when something else you'd like better comes along, you can do what I do, melt down 1, 2, or 3 to get your next ship, and then go back and buy those other ships again anyways.
Amen, brother.
I'm trying not to buy any ships unless it comes with LTI. I gotta get rid of my Avengers somehow, but I still want to keep it too.
You know, it's always, you can always shift it back to store credit, so.
Yeah, I'm like, I do want the Redeemer, that looks sweet, but I suck as a pilot, so I can find something else.
That's why I thought about, you know, sticking with the Gladius, because it basically says in the you know, the instructions, easy. Not a lot of moving parts. You know, it comes with a lot of missiles.
But it only comes with 6 months LTI, or 6 months insurance.
So,
I'd rather have LTI. Dude, do you know how much I can crash that thing?
When I had the first Gladius, it had LTI on it, the one I got rid of. Mm-hmm. But this one doesn't.
Again, it's supposed to be a small mechanic, so hopefully folks don't get caught up in it.
Yeah,
obviously
not a big deal.
So vote for the next. It's a tight race, last I looked anyways, between a passenger transport and a boarding assault ship, which will probably swing toward boarding assault ship after this FPS videos.
Yeah, you know it will.
So new flight controls and targeting enhancements in Arena Commander 0.9.2, which is here. I still haven't finished downloading the patch. A new variety of flight controls and ITTS adjustments to give players a variety of their target skills, whether they're using a mouse or a joystick. And it sounds like they did come up with a lot of good variety, a lot of good options for players to kind of find what helps them better regardless of what input they're using. And of course, even as I looked at, again, like third post down response, someone was like, you know, this game sucks, and it's like, oh, trolls everywhere, isn't there? But
Can't please all the people all the time, dude.
yeah, and so I'm gonna show you. There's let's see. Instead of lead indicators, you will have a predicted impact point or pip for each weapon. So, pardon me there. So a couple slides. It might be a little hard to see, but instead of lead targeting on the ship you're aiming at, it works a little more like you're seeing where your crosshairs are, and compared to your targeting ship, your guns are actually lagging behind your crosshairs, kind of showing you where they'll be hitting. So you're still kind of focusing on the enemy ship, and it helps with a little fine-tuning of where you're trying to hit the enemy ship, if you got the opportunity to be picky about placing your shot.
Yeah, there's no pickiness in there. I just kind of spray and hope for the best.
That's probably me too. And now this thing is supposed to also kind of help give you input on whether you hit, it changes color, or whether you're targeting something that's really out of range for that weapon. So, new manual out, read it. It'll kind of show you as far as how it is trying to give you a lot of good information as far as what your shots are doing and what they're looking like as you go into this.
Well, another nice thing about PIPs, predicted intercept point, is that's the way it happens in real life in warships today, because you want to know where your weapon's going. And that shows you where your weapon's going. And with friendly fire, it's going to become important. And hopefully with the ability to improve your focus, that's going to give you that, improve your focus and make the zoom easier. That's going to give you the ability to do some significant targeting. So that if you have 2 or 3 ships fighting against one larger ship, you're going to be able to target the starboard engine because of this new system.
Mm-hmm.
We've already had plenty of friendly fire going on just in the arena command. It was like 3 of us.
Yeah.
That was horrible. We started, oh, he's right there. Oh, I'm right in front of you. Look out, you're running into me. I'm like, I'm standing still. But
And I'm going to just play this in the background. I've got the sound turned down, but as I go through them, Ben Lesnick put out, or he's at least narrating, they have a 3-minute video out there on kind of control updates, so you can also take a look at what's going on. And I'll kind of go down the list. What's also nice about each of these updates, where they mention them on the site, is it also helps give you an idea who this is mostly helping, whether you're a joystick, whether you normally fly with a mouse, and what type of ships would benefit most from it. You've got, first of all, there's Enhanced Stick Precision, ESP, where players are better able to track their targets and perform finer precision movements when aiming. This is mostly for the joystick and gamepad. Basically, the controls are anticipating when you're close to the target and trying to hit it, so you don't oversteer. But if you do make a radical, try to break away, it's going to realize this and be smart enough to let you break off from your target. There's dynamic zoom, helps zoom in on a target or geometry, useful for fine targeting whatever the pilot happens to be focusing on. That will sharpen and kind of blur out the rest of your screen. Drag to move means the mouse only controls the ship, but the weapons fire straight forward. And in this mode, it still sounds like your gimbaled weapons are trying to track and anticipate the target. There's target focus, where your view drifts to watch your current target as long as they stay within your field of view. So I thought that was pretty nice too, as far as watching someone. And I think one of the videos they even locked on to somebody who was a little more off to the side, but the pilot was able to look over there, see him, and maintain the lock. Which is more dangerous though if the missile's coming after you. There's a look ahead, which turns the pilot's vision in the direction he's already turning to better see that direction. And they kind of said that mouse users already kind of had this feature. There's HOMAS, HOMAS, and aim-only virtual joystick for ambidextrous pilots who like to control flying and gimbaled weapons as separate entities. So I assume if you're using a dual stick, one to fly and one to aim. There's also gimbal lock, which sounds similar to drag to move earlier, where you move and the guns fire straight forward, but in this case, even the gimbaled weapons fire straight forward.
Hmm.
And that's the notes I had on that. If you guys had anything to add to it.
How do you get the keyboard overlay to pop up like that?
Second
That's what I would
screen.
like. Okay, because that would be very helpful. Because I too had went back from the HOTAS setup to the keyboard and mouse, and I'd like all those keys are difficult for me to remember.
Yeah.
There's not enough buttons on my joystick to play this game. I got to get a new one.
Sounds like a personal issue. Whoop.
My
Yeah, there's enough
joystick is
buttons on
plenty
my
big.
joystick. There's enough buttons on my joystick, but I have to have little notes beside them to remind me which one's which.
And we have temporary lost Memo. Maybe the internet is not behaving well tonight.
He's already lost in space.
I can still hear you guys. Can you still hear me?
Yep, we can hear you.
I would bet.
Another quarter in the machine, dude.
I would bet someone else in the house is streaming.
Yeah, we can see your guy falling endlessly though right now, so that'll.
But it's diving.
There.
Diving is awesome.
Diving is awesome.
Let's see. Trying to cover a few things quick because the show is already gone on about. I mean, what can you say? You know, well, I know what I'm going to say. I'm going to say also this other quote from the team, Ilphonics. They said in their video, okay, what excites them about Star Citizen? The thing that excites me the most is how big and ambitious the project is. The first-person shooter, the persistent universe, being able to fly, having that exploration. There's been games that do little parts of Star Citizen throughout, but there's never been a game that's done all the parts, all mashed together in a giant super game. Welcome back, Memo.
Still no video for me.
I can see you.
Yeah.
Let's see. Let me go ahead and flick something on quick.
Just flick it.
Yeah. Oh, here, show you guys here. How ideas take place in the Citizen pipeline. I'm just going to kind of show that page. Now, for the Twitch crew, this might be difficult. For the YouTube crew, this is going to show something later because I'm going to go down to the bottom of this. They're not showing all the ships, but they do have several ships listing where they're at, whether it's hangar ready, concept ready, concept, so we get kind of an idea on these. I know one of them I thought we'd see more was I thought we were going to see the Mustang variants, but I suppose soon.
Yeah, I would be thinking they would want to get those out. Seeing as how they're one of the starter ships.
Need more bubblegum and scotch tape to put them together.
We see a Jean Volper at the bottom of this list. I don't know what the Jean Volper is supposed to be, but it's in concept, whatever it is. So that gives you kind of an idea too when things might be coming out here.
I got it.
Lost Memo again.
Did we lose Memo again?
Yep.
I don't know what's going on. Am I totally gone?
We can hear you. We can see your little picture on Skype there. Just.
Well, that's me. So I don't know what's going on. My video keeps going out.
Okay. Let's see. So I'll just try to fly past a few things here for end things off. Design.
Spin too.
Arena Commander. They're going to start designing the implementation of the armor system because right now we're not really seeing armor. It's more like a part of the ship with hit points, so to speak. There will be work on, for New Horizon, a pit stop where you can refuel in the race. I assume for a longer race. But it said the fuel thing wasn't a massive change to the dogfighting, but it turned out to be a major tweak to the racing mode. So they had to adjust that. A Avengers getting flight ready, variants in a concept phase.
Yay.
Persistent Universe, Terra is looking as good as we saw ArcCorp in the CitizenCon video, and the drunk mechanic has been implemented. And for Squadron 42, they added an alertness stage to the AI. So,
What does it even mean?
I guess if you want to play the stealthy game or not, they didn't go into too much detail with it.
Hmm.
Alright. And there was a few other notes I know we didn't totally copy with 10 for the chairman and such. I'll go over this one though. People asked about when you're captured as a prisoner. Chris Roberts said you may be breaking out of a prison, first-person shooter style, or bribe your way out. We'll have a few ways to deal with that, I guess, if that happens.
I'll tell you what I would like to see in the prisoner mechanic, and that is if you're somewhere where you can't break out or you can't bribe your way out, they give you an option of getting out and leaving essentially an NPC behind, so that the person who captured you can carry on with what they would want to do, and you can carry on having fun doing something else.
Yeah, I did hear that, where essentially you become cargo for whether it's the bounty hunter or whoever. Welcome back.
Exactly, because no one wants to be stuck in jail. That would just suck.
Here for.
I don't want to play a game just to have to sit there and wait to play a game because somebody else decides to play a game. No. I don't have time for that.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, I wouldn't mind sticking around if it's a chance my teammate's going to rescue me, but otherwise, yeah, I want to hop into something else with the game. All right. We're going to have to bring it to a close here soon, so last thoughts from everyone?
I'm excited about whatever's coming up. Kind of ready for the game to release, but I'm kind of like I'm enjoying it, all of the lead up to it so much. I'm just not sure.
Yeah, this game, I have such great expectations so far. They've been upholding it. I can't wait to see. I hope it's everything like that when it releases.
I can't wait to see the variants for the Avenger. That's going to be awesome. That way I know if we're going to keep it or not. And then my 325A, I'm probably going to melt that down into something else. But that's the one that's my package is hooked up to. So we'll
you
see
have
what
to
that
you have to get another package. Because that was my problem with the Connie.
Right.
I didn't melt it down because it was part of my package.
And
So
you have
I
to be
can still
careful with the
upgrade.
package too, because you got to make sure you get a package with alpha access.
Right.
Yep.
Right.
Yeah.
So you got to be careful what I melt that down to, because that's gonna be my real whatever gonna use shit. The Avengers just throw stuff around, see what's gonna happen. But I might end up really liking it.
I did learn because I almost melted mine, and I went, "Oh, it gives you an extra warning to remind you this is your package with alpha. Are you sure
Nice.
you want to do this?" No, I don't want to do that. Thanks for the reminder.
Mm-hmm.
Nice.
Gosh.
What I was going to say is probably the biggest reason I'm excited about the FPS part of the game is because it makes the operations huge. Like, you can go from escorting a ship to fighting pirates to boarding and taking over that pirate ship with hand-to-hand zero-G combat, and then bring in your repair ship to fix it up so that you can fly your prize home. Awesome.
Or bring your reclaimer in so you can stuff it into a nice square. And
Exactly.
So Spin's gonna help us take over a Bengal. That's what he's saying.
That is what I would love to see. Like, can you imagine flying that Redeemer or a number of Redeemers down into, let's not say a Bengal, but let's say an escort carrier hangar, dropping off your Marines, while at the same time you've got someone else doing a boarding somewhere else in there, and it's going to be fantastic. Now, I'm excited, but I do have expectation management. I know that things are going to go wrong. I know that it's going to take time, more time than I want, but I'm willing to accept it because, like Memo said, I'm so excited about the game.
yeah, well, we're all old-time gamers except for our one token baby here, so we know how these things go. And Wolf has always been pretty realistic as far as gaming goes, knowing what's promised and what he's actually going to get. So, we have talked about that before.
I was going to make my last words a thank you to everyone who supported Extra Life, especially CIG who allowed us to run it, and the people who donated ships for next year. That was fantastic. And I want to just note there was a death from the Virgin Galactic pilot. They had a crash. And you know, that guy's really reaching for the stars. Yeah, he's getting paid for it, but you know what? He's doing it because he wants to get to the stars. And we're all going to get there in our imagination. He aimed for it, didn't make it, and rest in peace.
Right on. Thamin? Typing.
Sorry, Termite. Yep. I was responding to someone asking about getting into Alpha. Again, right now, Alpha has been all sold out, used up, unless you get a ship, unless you get a package from someone that had it. But you can get the $5 to get into Arena Commander right now. And they said some of the modules will be different, so I don't know how long the $5 lasts, and you got to put in another $5. But if you're into trying that dogfighting, that first-person shooter, yeah, it's a cheap investment.
I remember hearing about that, and it was the Arena Commander, the Access Pass. There's no end date on it, so as long as there's an Arena Commander, I think you've got access. You may have to get access to the other modules.
Okay.
Awesome.
All right, folks. Again, thank you for watching this, the Star Citizen Report. Spin, thank you for joining us.
Yeah, thanks, man.
Thanks for having me, guys. I had a great time.
All right.
And thanks for all those ships that you gave away. That's pretty
that
awesome.
was awesome, man.
All right, folks. Everyone else, we'll see you in the verse.